Hey, strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com. If you want to get exclusive access to my newest videos before they hit YouTube, pledge at patreon.com/startingstrongman. On to Group 2 of World's Strongest Man and my predictions. The athletes for this group are Tom Stoltman, Evan Singleton, Charles Trey Mitchell III, Mark Felix, and Johnny Hansen. And this group has deadlift and train pull as the opposite events. So they have loading medley, deadlift, train pull, overhead medley, and pickaxe hold. Then the stone off between 2 and 3. So this is what I think will happen. In the loading medley, I think it will be a race between Tom Stoltman and Evan Singleton. Evan Singleton has great speed, and I think the only thing that would matter is on what kind of implements they are. Tom has a bit of reach on him and everyone else in the contest, except maybe Mark Felix, who just seems like the longest arms in the world. But Tom has gained a lot of weight since last year, so we'll see if that affects. He 2019 he won the loading medley in the finals, and is always fast in them. But it's hard. He's gained a lot of weight and is a lot bigger. So has his conditioning kept up with that? I don't think it being bigger doesn't necessarily make you worse at loading medleys. It's just hard to increase your calories and get bigger, and then also the same time keep up on that type of training you need to do good at loading medleys and the kind of race kind of events. But I think that'll be between Tom and Evan. Mark Felix is probably pretty good at those. Sometimes he is. I think he could get third. Trey and Johnny Hansen kind of built pretty similar. They're like a little Big Z looking guys. Strong as bulls, not always the fastest. Deadlift. This is a great deadlifting group. Mark Felix, you can never count out on any deadlift, especially if it's within his weight range that he can do reps. He's just not getting. He just did a 515 kilogram silver dollar deadlift, just like kind of on a whim, it seemed like, at Ultimate Strongman, UK Ultimate Strongman. Trey Mitchell his max might not be as high as some of the people, but he's a beast at reps as well. Looking at Johnny Hansen's training, I think this is where he struggles more of a presser than a puller. Evan's deadlifting has looked really amazing. He's probably about to crack 1,000 pounds. His lockouts on some of those videos has been questionable. I even saw Magnus Magnuson ask about that, and he's the head judge at Worlds, on Facebook, and be like, "Hey, Evan, what was up with that lockout?" And Evan's like, "It's training. Don't give me, please say down call." Tom, his deadlift has gotten much better as of late. He's a mid-nines puller these days. Sometimes when you gain weight, it affects you, your pulling position, and sometimes when you get bigger, your deadlift actually goes down. So the other thing I noticed on Evan Singleton's videos is it looks like he's using a deadlift bar, where in Worlds they usually use that very thick S-Cube bar, which doesn't really bend, the Iron Mind S-Cube bar. I think it's like 1.25 inches or even almost 1.5 inches thick. I used to use it to simulate axle deadlifts training when I went to a powerlifting gym that had one, and that thing doesn't bend. It's crazy. So that can make a big difference as far as that. It's a stiffer bar. I'm not sure what the deadlift is, but usually that's what they use if they use the barrels or something, which I think is kind of what they're doing, where they're going to have the barrels on the side and the squat's going to be the barrels as well for the groups that have squat. So in the deadlift, I will say I think Mark Felix and Trey will be 1 and 2, just as I just have I don't think Trey cares how stiff any bar is, and I think he's really good at reps, and the same for Felix. Um, and then, but it could be like there could be like a three-way tie in that. I think Johnny Hansen struggles, and for that, it's all it all that really matters between that is who places above. Who if does Tom do more than Evan or vice versa is the real battle there, more so than who gets first. I think because I think the group who wins the group is between those two overall. The train pull. Tom Stoltman, for some reason, struggles on truck pulls in the past. Maybe the added body weight helps, but it's not like he was small before. I think a lot of the time it's just how people approach train pulls, truck pulls, etc., that make you good or bad at them. If you're already, kind of like you look at his body type, he has really long arms, he's super tall, he's heavy. You should be good at train pull or any sort of harness pull. He doesn't tend to be. Evan, I think, is going to do very good at that, and Trey is also. He's like a bulldozer. But I think Evan wins that. Trey in second. Tom in third. Mark has all the experience. Johnny Hansen, he's pretty big and he's got those big arms to pump the rope with. He might surprise some people as well. The overhead medley depends on how Mark's going to struggle in the overhead medley. That's just what we've seen in strongman for the past 15 years. I think he's making his record appearance at Worlds. Believe it's his 16th. That's incredible, but never really been great at overhead. And it's not that he's gotten worse over time. It's that the level that you're expected to have to press has gotten much higher, which has not helped him. But it has improved. I think he's working with Shane Germain on some stuff and better than we've seen him do in a long time on overhead. So that's a positive. Trey is very good at this stuff. It depends on if someone has to do it quick or not. Tom, I think Tom wins this and it's going to be between Trey and Evan for second. Depends on who's faster. If there's another circus dumbbell, I think Evan tore his bicep on the circus dumbbell last year, so you don't know if there's a little mental problem, just leftover mental stuff in there at all. Pickaxe hold, I think Johnny Hansen and Trey will do well on this. Evan and Tom both have hands down to their knees, and this one could really shake it up. But again, I think the more important thing is who does better on this event between Tom and Evan. And I'm going to give the edge to Evan just based on Tom on his Hercules hold. It's just, I know they're not the same event, but I've noticed people that tend to be able to just will themselves to keep holding on to something tend to be better at other events where you have to will yourself to keep doing the same thing. It's different. I'm going to pick Evan Singleton to win this group, and Tom Stoltman and Trey Mitchell go into a stone off, which is crazy. And I know I said that Trey could beat Tom in a stone off in my previous video, and I don't think people understood what I'm saying, or they did and they just don't know who Trey Mitchell is or saw him against Novikov in 2019 when it was stone over bar. Trey, if he can load a stone, take 5 seconds to catch his breath as the other person does it, and then go back, I don't think would ever stop in a stone. And I don't think Tom ever would either. But it's tough. So I think though that it's a series. And I think in a series, Tom is so fast and doesn't make mistakes on stones, where when moving from stone to stone, sometimes I've seen Trey do so. And I think Tom wins that. If they do have to do like a 200 something kilogram stone for reps at the end, as I've heard rumored, that changes things up dramatically. but I think after having to do a series fast, Trey might be a little gassed out. So I would say that Tom advances to the finals. I don't really understand this grouping too much, and also giving I would have loved to see Tom do a single fingers, instead of a train pull. But what are you going to do? But I would not be surprised if Tom has to do a stone off in this and doesn't win his group. I think Evans, barring injury, looking very fast and very dedicated right now. He's very focused and very hungry. But maybe that's my U.S. bias versus the UK from someone like Mr. World's Strongest Fan. So that's my predictions on Group 2.